Hey, friends, have you ever stood in the middle of a situation that you know should have broken your heart? A crisis in your circle, a tragedy in your community? And you realized with a sense of horror that you felt nothing. Not because you're cold, not because your heart is callous, but because you've spent all of your care on the headlines 10,000 miles away that you were never meant to carry. Today, we're going to be talking about the biological limit of the human heart to carry emotion. Hey, life moves fast, leadership moves even faster. But if you and I don't learn to pause and find some space to rest, the very vision that we're pursuing will eventually outrun us. And today, we're going to continue our vital new journey together that we've been sharing for the last several weeks. We're going to continue this series of finding a Sabbath for the soul. And today, I want to welcome you to the Motivating Moments podcast with Pastor Steve Evans, where every week we take a few minutes to refocus, recharge, and move forward with purpose. Hey, life moves quickly and leadership can be demanding, and it's easy to drift into the routine and the demands of the day without realizing. That's why these moments exist. It's to provide practical encouragement for you and I and a perspective that helps us stay intentional in the middle of real life. So wherever you're listening today, whether you're driving into work, maybe you're taking a walk, or you just simply need a few minutes to reset, recenter, get ready for today's motivating moment. Hey, in my 25 years of pastoral ministry, I've seen that you can have, as we've been talking about, a rested body and a quiet mind. But if your heart is emotionally bankrupt, you still won't have the passion to lead. Today, we're going to be talking about why there are times that our hearts maybe feel tapped out. Years ago, anthropologist Robin Dunbar famously researched what we now call Dunbar's number, and that has a great significance for you and I. His study suggests that the human brain, the human mind, the human emotion is biologically limited to maintaining stable social relationships with, give or take, 150 people. And for 99% of human history, that was our world. Our ancestors lived in villages of maybe 100 to 200 people. Their news was contextual, situational, it was local. But today, we're trying to run a global village on a village scale hardware. Nothing's changed, even though the world around us is changing. Nothing's changed about our biological makeup. And within seconds of a tragedy occurring halfway around the globe, it's in our pockets. And we're the first generation of leaders that have ever been expected to process the collective trauma of 8 billion people in real time. And then, as a leader, the fatigue isn't just from what you see, it's also from what's expected of us. Because everybody else is consuming all of this same information as well. And we live in a culture that demands instant stances. There is an immense pressure from those under our care to speak to everything, to have an opinion or a position about everything. They want our political positions. They want our input about world affairs and wars and rumors of wars and the latest conspiracy theories. And then on top of that, there's the information assignment. People want us to read every new book they find or watch the 3-hour documentary that they sent us. And it seems like everyone has a voice that they want us as leaders to adopt. And if you aren't careful, you'll find yourself spending all your emotional energy just trying to satisfy the demand for commentary and consumption rather than fulfilling your demand for ministry or whatever other field that you're leading. And sometimes we just get to a point that we're letting the peripheral noise drown out the core calling. And that leads us to what I'll call a compassion collapse. And the information triage, the most dangerous symptom of this fatigue isn't that you care too much. It's what happens when you stop caring at all. When your emotional capacity has been absorbed by thousands of peripheral things, you will eventually hit a compassion collapse. And I've got to be honest with you and say that I've been there. And you find yourself standing in the middle of a situation or looking at some kind of decision, and it's a situation that should bring you stress or break your heart or whatever. But instead of feeling some kind of something, you just feel a hollow nothingness. And it's because you've become calloused. It's that your empathy breakers have all tripped. Your biological empathy breakers have tripped. You've spent all your care on things that didn't belong to your calling. And now you have no currency left for the things that do. So I want to give you a 3-point turn today, and maybe that'll help you reclaim some of that margin. Number one, I want to invite you to respect the 150 rule. Acknowledge your biological limits. You can't deeply care for 8 billion people, and you cannot care for 1 million other peripheral things. Hey, there's a classic Bob Seger lyric that perfectly describes the transition of a carefree drifter in his days of his youth to the weight of responsibility that we as leaders so often bear. And he sings these words, and he says, well, those drifter days are past me now. I've got so much more to think about, deadlines and commitments, what to leave in, what to leave out. And it's that last line there, the question of what to leave in and what to leave out. That is the heart of emotional stewardship. As you grow in leadership, as the demands press greater on your life is no longer just about you. You have deadlines, you have commitments, and you have responsibilities that demand your focus. And you must decide what to leave in and what to leave out. And if you try to leave everything in, you are going to eventually run out of room for what really matters the most. So I challenge you, ask the question, what to leave in, what to leave out, take the inventory. Second, I want to invite you to resign from the opinion desk. You don't have to have a public stance on every global headline. And you don't have to be an expert in every theological concept. And you don't have to read every book that lands on your desk. It's okay to say, I'm focused on what God's calling me to do right here. Like Nehemiah, I can't come off the wall right now. Your silence on a global issue is often the sound of your faithfulness to the local ones that you're dealing with. Number 3, I want to invite you to trust the global body. And emotional rest comes from the humble realization that God has people with specific callings in every corner of the globe. And when you see a tragedy elsewhere, offer a prayer for them, take it to the Lord, and then intentionally release that to the hand of God and trust that God has a watchman on this wall and in that place who is called to act. Now, your heart is the wellspring of your life. We learn that from Scripture. And if the peripheral things are draining the well, the core of your calling will eventually go dry. Guard your heart today, so when the people who truly need you reach out, you actually have something to give. When the situations arise that need your leadership, you can be emotionally present. You won't be standing in that space with the numbness, but you'll be ready to lead. Hey, thank you for joining me for this motivating moment. And remember, the road ahead is long. So make sure that you're fueled for the journey. I'm Pastor Steve Evans. And again, I'll see you in the next episode as we explore the spiritual renewal that ties all of this together. And until next time, again, I am Pastor Steve, encouraging you to stay motivated, my friends.